Make it stop. All right, we got people coming in. Hey y'all. So I hopefully y'all can see this. Thank you for the like, Chic. Okay, so let me bring this up. This is Claire said that these days you either have to get on a big reality show or do something viral to get signed to an agency and start making money. And this is why I feel so bad for people whose talent have not been recognized, even when they've been trying, thriving, and working really hard to make it in this creative industry for years. But not to worry, keep pushing, your time will come. I feel like this is one of those topics that uh I tried like not to get onto this because I feel like when you start talking about, people being envious of other people, and when you start talking about, people hating on another person, or not necessarily like not wishing them well, but I feel like envy gets tricky because sometimes it's not about the person, it's about what they have, and you feeling like it's something that you should have. Why isn't it happening for me yet? Like that is essentially what it means when people are envious. And so I she didn't mention her on here, but I feel like this is definitely related to Reesa Teesa blowing up, and she actually got signed to an agency, CAA, which is apparently a really big agency that represents some really big people. And it's not always easy to get represented by an agency of that stature. Like TikTok has agencies for live creators and stuff like that. And you don't have to be a huge creator in order to get into an agency, like especially like when it comes to like live stream and stuff. But agencies where you get the book deals, where you get the brand deals, where you get the TV, film deals, all of that stuff, that comes from these bigger agencies, and that is not as easy to attain. And so you have creators who have been, at this for literally for years. Like they've been at this for years, and they're feeling away seeing someone who appears to just have like got on the internet one day and made a bunch of content, and now she's in places and at levels that people have aspired to be at. And so now it's a lot of stuff happening. So have y'all been seeing this? Like have y'all been seeing this come up as a topic of conversation where creators are feeling like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like I feel slighted, and I feel away because, when is my time gonna come? Hold on, let me see. I Which one am I using? Okay, let me bring up. This is what originally got the conversation started for me. Okay. Here it is. Let me move it to this side. So yeah, this is Jessie Woo. She was talking about she's been talking about it for a few days, but she's been saying how she has mixed feelings about the fact that it's like a top agency, and Reesa Teesa is now signed to one of the top agencies. And the thread it's got a couple of other, got a couple other comments on there, and it's got a lot of people who are saying, people are saying different things. So some people are saying that it's because they're saying that it's because it's just like her time, and what's for you is for you, right? That's like the stance that some people have on it. And then other people are saying that that like basically like it's a slight to people who are real creatives. Like they don't feel like she should be at this place for the amount of work that she's put in, as opposed to some of the other creators who, you know, have been doing it for longer, or at least have been around for longer. And so there's a lot of people, a lot of different comments, a lot of different perspectives on it. And the reason why I wanted to come on here and talk about it is because it was actually not because of this. I don't really necessarily feel a way about this, but I have felt like this before. People hit the lottery every day. Yeah, it's just, I just don't feel like there's a rhyme or reason to it. I really don't. And like trying to sit up and understand why not me, and why is this happening for somebody else, is all energy that you're now taking away from what you can do for yourself, and you're giving it to a situation that you have no control over. Like, so I'll use myself as an example. And if y'all decide that you want to share yours too, you can definitely feel free. But I'll be the first one to say that I have definitely hated on creators who I felt like made it and I didn't. Okay? I have been in that boat. And there was like a period of time where I literally couldn't follow certain creators because I knew deep down in my heart I was envious of them. I felt like, hey Kuma, I felt like they were I felt like what they were doing, I could do it too, So what is it about them that makes them so different? Am I not pretty enough? Am I not interesting enough? Hey, Simply, am I not like working hard enough? Is there something wrong with my content? I really internalized this perceived failure that I had. And so I literally I had to unfollow them. And it wasn't because they did anything to me. It's not because they weren't great creators, but I was like hate watching at this point. It would piss me off to see them. And so I especially felt this when it came to fashion. I was in that place for a long time. Yeah, and I just wish that more people would be honest about it. I was like this when it came to fashion, especially, y'all, because I started off with fashion. So I was doing upcycle content. I was doing different like style content. I could repurpose. I can sew clothes. I can repurpose them. I can go thrift. I can find amazing things. Like I had all of these different talents that some of your favorite style influencers, your favorite fashion influencers, I have a lot of those talents and those skills, right? And so I remember it was a period of time, especially when I decided that I was going to go in a different direction and I was no longer going to pursue fashion content. I still felt slighted because I was like, man, they're getting popular. They're going on to these TV shows. They're getting these opportunities to go to like New York Fashion Week, and they're doing all of this stuff that I could have been doing that. That's something I could have did it's only because I didn't continue with fashion, or it's because I stopped and I'm pursuing something different. And it was always like this like FOMO that I had, because it was like, man, did I mess up? Or I had the capability to be this person or do this, but it just didn't seem to work out for me. And there was one thing in particular, and y'all let me know if you can relate to it. I was like, look at her being all positive or whatever. There was when I first got on TikTok, um my content was trash. Like I ain't even gonna make anything. It was trash. Okay, it was trash. It was weird. I really didn't know what to do over here. I was just like kind of making content just to, like I was just trying to figure it out. I was making content to have fun, and so right, Kuma, and so I was finally like trying to like take it seriously and start to make fashion content. You know what I'm saying? I won't lie, I cried when Matt got the Walmart deal. I felt like a failure. I had to pray. Listen, I hope that you feel better just getting that off your chest, because I think that this just needs to be a session where we can keep it real, okay? Because sometimes we be hating. Like we be feeling like why me? And I think that it's fair to be honest about that. And so I was starting to make like actual fashion content, and I was making like the videos where I was like repurposing clothes, right? So I was taking stuff and I was doing different stuff with scarves and button up shirts, and I was coming up with all these different ways to style your clothes. And when I was making these videos, I could not get past like 1,000 views ever. Ever, y'all. I could never get past 1,000 views, and I would be so frustrated because I was like, this is what people are doing with fashion. So why is it that so and so can go on here and do it, hit a 1, 2, 3 pose real fast with their outfit on, and they get thousands of views, but then when I do it, I get like 300. Thank you for the heart puff. I get like 300 views, if that. Like they were seriously, it was like I was like stuck at like 169 for so long. Oh, I was stuck at 169 for so long. Did you feel like people who have been doing it a short time were passing you? Yes, I did. And if I'm being real, y'all, I felt like people who were not better than me at doing it were passing me up. Like I felt like that's the part too, because sometimes we be knowing like I'm more talented than this person, but they're the ones that's getting it. Like and I can't be mad at it because they didn't do anything wrong. But I still feel a way because it's like I'm amazing at this. Why am I not blowing up? And so it was starting to feel so frustrating. And so I was doing these videos. I was trying to I had the transitions down pat. That's problematic thinking though. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. I was like, I got the transitions down pat, and I got this together. Like I know how to make these videos interesting. I'm making it almost exactly like some of the ones that I'm seeing, right? Which, was also like a red flag, right? But I'm making this content exactly like how I'm seeing other people doing it. But I can't get no views. This was way more. I don't see nobody doing this. Why am I not more popular? Why am I not famous already? Like why are they not knocking down my door trying to work with me? So I was feeling away. And so I had to completely like stop following some amazing creators. Like they were amazing creators, amazing influencers, because I was hating on them. And the more I saw them, the more I felt like they were thriving, and the more I felt like they were getting these opportunities that I would have loved to have, the worse I felt about myself. And I had some of the same thoughts and feelings that other people have about Reesa Teesa right now. Like she ain't been doing this longer than me. Look at her video quality. She got on here and just told all her business, and she's famous. How does she get to go on these interviews? And I've been doing this for years, and I'm way more talented than her, or I'm way prettier than she is. Like why am I not getting more attention? Yeah, nah, it was straight up hating. I was bitter, okay? I was bitter. I was mad, and I felt like, wow, like what's wrong with me? Like why is this not working out for me? And so I just was in my feelings about it. So okay, before I continue this story, y'all, because a lot of people came in here in a very short amount of time. I am talking about, yeah, it's wild. Okay, I'm not hating on Reesa Teesa, y'all. I'll be very clear about that. I am sharing my story about when I was hating on other creators. Okay. And I'm using this as an example because I am seeing a lot of people who are hating on Reesa Teesa right now, and regardless of how you feel about her story or whether you feel like it's the truth or not, honestly, I don't care to get into those politics because I don't know her. So, I can't speak to that. And also the bigger issue is that, like, what is it like, why is this impacting you so much personally? And for a lot of people, if they were being honest about it, they're hating. And I think that you can just be honest about the fact that you're hating on her. Like, I don't like the fact that I've been doing this for years and it feels like you just popped up overnight and you're getting all these opportunities that I want. Yeah, no, it is envy. It is envy. And so that I'm sharing my experience with being envious as a creator, because it happens. It happens, and the longer that you're doing it, the more time that you put in, the easier it is for you to get bitter about it, because you feel like, man, what is it about me that this isn't how it's working out for me? And I know that some people say, it's just her time, or you can't determine, when things are going to pop off and when they're not. Like, we don't have any control over what blows up and what doesn't. And I know that those are the things that people say to placate it. They do have their own conversations, like whatever you want to say to placate it. But the fact of the matter is that people still have those feelings regardless of you saying, oh, it's just not your time yet and you just got to be patient and wait your turn. It's hard. It's hard to say, okay, I'm just gonna wait it out, and I'm just gonna keep on being diligent and keep on being, persistent in what I'm building, when it feels like people are passing you up. And I think that that's something that we have to address. Like, you got to talk about it. You got to talk about it. You got to be able to be real and say, "Nah, I'm hating on you right now. I feel envious of the fact that it feels like I've been working so hard and you're getting these opportunities and I'm not." Because now the thing about envy is that it really does do more damage to the person that's feeling it than the person who is directed towards. Because we start to internalize that, and we make us the reason why. Like, we make ourselves the failures. We make ourselves the ones that messed up, the ones that can't get it right. We start to look at ourselves and be like, well, what's wrong with me? And am I not this? Am I not that? And that is damaging to our self-esteem. And it's also damaging to our creativity, because that is what makes people start to do things like, okay, well, if this is what works for Reesa Teesa, let me go ahead and make my 50-part story series. But you're probably not a 50-part story kind of person. You were probably making content that was more in alignment with who you are before you started looking at somebody else's success. But because you want what they have, you now start to try to figure out the formula. What's the recipe? What's the secret? How do I get that? Like, what's the sauce? And it's like, this the sauce is you. But the more time you spend looking at other people, the more time you spend trying to figure out why everybody else is getting what you don't have, that's damaging to yourself. But I feel like I want us to be able to actually be honest about our feelings, because the fact that you're feeling it doesn't make you a bad person. It shows a few things. It may show that you're discouraged. It may show that you're frustrated. It may show that, maybe I'm not being true to myself. Maybe it's showing that there's something that I'm missing that I need to get so that I can start to, show up as me. and I can have an audience that loves me for me. You know, what do I need to do in order to not necessarily change who you are, but change your perspective or change how you're approaching things, right? And so the more time that the more time that we spend, the less time we take away. That's time we take away from being able to do that work for ourselves and figure it out. And so I love the fact that people are like actually making this a part of conversation. I love that we're having this conversation because I feel like we should just be open about that fact. We can be open about that. I felt envious of this person. I envy the fact that there's a couple of creators that's like, I envy you. This is how I feel right now. And it doesn't mean I'm going to always feel like this, but I have to acknowledge that in this moment and honor that, because if I don't, I'm still going to be making decisions and I'm still going to be moving from that place. And that's the thing that I don't think people realize. Whether you acknowledge it or not, the feelings are still there. They still impact the choices that you make, and the choices that you make impact the direction that you go in your life, right? And so even if we're not talking about it, if we're not acknowledging it, we're still doing things that are led by envy. We're still moving based off of envy. And I feel like it's time for us to just be real about this stuff and say, no, I feel a way. I feel a way about this, and not be a villain. It doesn't mean you have to be the villain. You can acknowledge it, and then you can choose to make the choices to heal in a way that is not, that you start to feel these feelings less. You know, it starts to impact you less. Like, I believe that because I took that time away from those creators that I felt envious of, and the creators that I felt like were going in the places that I wanted to go. When I stopped focusing on them, and I like literally like removed the temptation to compare myself, I was able to now think about, okay, what is it about me that makes me unique? What is it about me that allows me to be able to show up as myself? What is it about me that allows me to shine and be bright in my own lane? Because the thing that I realized after I, removed the temptation to compare myself, I started to realize that the content that I was creating was not the kind of content that was best suited for me. Because I was doing a lot of videos where I was just like showing my outfit and, showing people how to put the clothes together and style them differently, right? Which is the same kind of videos I would see everybody doing. But the power for me was in my voice. And at that time, especially, you see it more now, but at that time, there were not a lot of fashion creators who were talking. There were not a lot of fashion creators who were telling you like how to style yourself and actually like verbalizing it. There were not a lot of creators who were talking about how to dress yourself if you're a mom and you just had some kids, or maybe you've had kids for a while and you lost yourself somewhere. Which were all things that were unique to my story that I could speak to, right? And so when I removed the temptation to compare myself, to be envious, that was when I was able to find where I shine. So now that was how I found out that I could still look good. I could still put my clothes together, but I can talk. Like, people love to listen to me talk. My content that has blown up and has gone viral, it was because I was speaking. Not because I was standing in front of it posing. And that's not the shade. That's no knock to the people that do it, because if it's working for them, it works for them. But it didn't work for me, because it was very clear for me, I had to use my voice. But I couldn't see that through my envy and through my bitterness, because I'm now trying to compare myself to try to get what other people had. And the part that was the kicker for me, y'all, is that, thank you for renewing your subscription. I appreciate that, y'all. Before I keep going, if y'all are enjoying this, help me reach my goals, my live goals. I have 50 roses, and I would love it if we can reach the goal before I get off of this live. Or if you want to help me, if you can only tap, help me reach my goal of I'm trying to get to 30,000 likes in a live. The most I've got is to 10K likes. So those are two ways that y'all can support if you are enjoying this and you're getting value from it. So I appreciate y'all in advance, and then I'm gonna keep on going because I forget to add those little goals in there. So yeah, I couldn't see past the envy. I couldn't see past the bitterness. I couldn't see past like what they were getting. And here's where I was at. The kicker, y'all, is that where they were going, where they were at, wasn't even the direction that I was meant to go in. That's the part that's wild. And that's the thing that I think really kind of messes me up is that there's space for everybody. Like when people say everybody can eat, there's room for everybody to eat. Thank you for the hat. Just making up goals. Thank you for the hat. There's room for everybody to eat. Just because Reesa Teesa blew up, just because these other creators have blown up, does not mean that it's not a space for you. And we're looking at what other people have and saying, I want that. But it's not meant for you to have it that way. It would take you away from the direction that you were meant to go in. If I had continued on with that mindset, I would have just been stuck at being a style influencer. And you want to know what I would have missed out on if I would have just stuck to being a style influencer? I would have still just been I would have missed out on being able to help people to build their businesses. I would have missed out on helping people to build their confidence and their self-esteem and their creativity and who they are. I would have missed out on the opportunity to see people get in front of the camera and go live who were afraid to even speak and open their mouth and use their voice. I would have missed out on opportunities to speak at conferences and on panels and on podcasts. I would have missed out on all of that because I wouldn't have been operating in the space that I was meant to go in. And so at the time, it was a very critical time, okay? And I want y'all to really don't miss this part, okay? At the time that I stopped following the influencers that I was feeling envious of, one of the biggest reasons why I had to leave and I had to stop following them. And I know that might seem extreme to some people, but I had to remove the temptation. I had to completely remove the temptation to compare myself to them because it was a time of transition in my life. It was a time where I was starting to recognize and I was starting to realize that, man, I want to do more than this. Like, making clothes is cool. Showing people how to dress is cool, but something's missing. And if I would have stuck to watching these people who were moving in the direction that I was previously going in, I would have continued on in that path. Now, that's not to say that I wouldn't have eventually been successful and, I wouldn't have eventually had a video that popped off and did well, but I wouldn't have been moving in the space that I really love, that really is fulfilling to me. I would have missed out on so many things. And so at that time, I was really my title was style influencer. I was stylist. I was a stylist and I was doing style influencing. So I was making content. I made a lot of content. Like y'all, I was really pushing out the content, right? Especially when it came to helping people style their clothes in different ways and, wear different things for work. Like it's a whole catalog of, you can look later, I have a whole thing of what to wear to work. Like I was making a lot of content on style. And so, but I was starting to realize that I really love to talk to people about content, like content creation. And I was starting to see how people could make businesses doing certain things. Like I was able to see business ideas from people's content. I think that's the best way to put it. I was starting to see how someone who was a dancer could turn what they do as content into an entire dance company, or into entire coaching business, right? I was able to see there were some people who would do really well if they had a TV show, or if they started to create content in a series so that they could put themselves in position to be picked up by a network, right? Like I was starting to see the businesses and the way that people could use their content creation, their creativity to make it into a business. And I was really passionate about that because that was how I got my start in the first place. And so I was seeing this, but I was like, but this doesn't make sense with fashion. Y'all know what I mean? Like I was really having a hard time trying to figure out, well, what does this have to do with clothes? This I can't be a stylist and then also be I didn't feel like I could be a stylist and then be like a business coach. Like I didn't even know what that meant. Hey friend, I didn't really know what that even meant. Like I didn't understand how they went together. And what was very clear to me is that the direction that I was going in was putting me in a box. I was bringing myself into a space where I can make sense of it. Like it makes sense here. If I just stick to fashion, this makes sense. I can stay here. This is cool. Like let's just hover around this space. And so it was frustrating to me because all of this time I'm over here looking at people and saying, why is it that they're making it? Why is it that they're doing this? Why is it that they're able to excel and make it to these heights and these lengths doing what they love to do, but I can't make it doing what I love to do? Forgetting that I was not completely doing what I love to do. I was completely forgetting an entire side of myself, an entire aspect of myself that was a big part of me. It was a part of me that was necessary. It was a part of me that when I talk about business, when I'm able to talk about it in this way, there's like this certain energy that I have that I didn't have as a stylist. Like it just wasn't there. And so I was I had to separate myself, for one, because I couldn't see myself past the envy. And for two, if I kept trying to watch what they were doing, I would have went in the wrong direction. I would have been going in the wrong direction. Yeah. So people, we're on this topic. So I'm talking about creator envy, okay? Being envious of other creators. And so I'm using this post. This is from Jessie Woo. And I was really struck by this because at first, y'all see the replies, right? So like it struck a chord with people. And if people were honest about what it was, they're feeling envious. They're feeling envious because who is she to have this opportunity, these opportunities, and I don't. I've been doing this for years. I've done this and I've been here and I've been on that. How do you just get to come up and get all the things that I wanted, that I've worked for, that I desire? Yeah. And so there's a lot of envy going around, especially for the people who go viral and they are able to get all of these opportunities, and they're able to get all of these rewards that people have been working for years to get. And there are a lot of people who are having a hard time with this, especially the bigger creators, especially the ones in the entertainment space. They're having a really hard time with it. So, yeah, that is the energy. And so, my thing here, y'all, my goal, anytime I talk about these topics, I'm not going to talk down about anybody. I'm not going to knock anybody like that. I will not participate in slander on either side. What I hope to do is to help people to see where they can relate in this instance. And I'm gonna be real with y'all, okay? I don't believe anybody who has said they have never felt envious before. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I'm not buying it. I just feel like it's one of those emotions where it's not okay to feel it. But you feel it. It's a feeling. It is an emotion and it's tied to something. So I wish that we could stop villainizing these emotions. Now, what you do with them is a completely different thing. Okay? I'm not saying that you feeling this way excuses you from talking down about anybody, for knocking anybody's accomplishments. I'm not saying that it gives you an excuse to behave however you want to, even though I don't like the fact that I have to give that disclaimer, but I'm gonna give it so that, if you say anything about it in the comments, you're just not listening. But I also feel like it's made it so that people want to act like they don't feel it. Now you got every other way to describe it and to dance around it. I feel a way. I have thoughts. I don't know about this. We make it real deep. And it's like, it's not that deep. I'm envious of you. Because I want that. I want that. I've been working for that. I feel like I deserve it. Not because I don't think that you deserve it, but because I want it and I've been working. And how's it that you got it and I don't? Like, I think that is a very real emotion to have. And so I want to open up this space and this platform for people to be real about how they feel. Thank you for the heart puffs, y'all. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate you. Keep on tapping. I see the taps. I see the gifts. I really do appreciate y'all, for real. Especially with me talking about a topic like this, because I know folks like to eat you up when you're honest about, being a hater. But I'm a recovering hater, okay? I've hated hard. It was so bad that I had to start following the people because it was weird now. I'm over here looking at your content, just watching everything that you do, knowing that I secretly want everything that you got. Like, Jada, calm down. Calm down. Get off the internet. It was bad. It was bad. And I think that it is amplified when you're in a place where you don't feel like, where you feel unsure of yourself, or if you're at a place where you're just feeling discouraged, or if you're at a place where you feel like, man, I don't know what else to do. I don't understand what I'm missing. I don't understand why it's not clicking. It makes sense. It's natural. It makes sense. And even just the amount of views that she got on her videos compared to how people's views have been on these platforms, I can understand why you would feel away. So you mean to tell me that I'm over here doing all this extra stuff, got the transitions, my lighting is on, is perfect, chef's kiss, I got this amazing camera quality, and you just popped up in your car and made this video, and now all of a sudden you famous? I understand. I understand the frustration. I get it. And I wish that people would just be honest about that. Don't make it deeper than what it is. Because then once you're honest about it, then you can just say, okay, well, where do I go from here? Not how can I be Reesa Teesa? Not what is she doing now? Not creating all this content talking about, well, I don't know. And I don't understand how people can just pop up overnight and get these opportunities. And man, is she really going to be able to sustain it? And this is just another overnight sensation. Why does it matter? Why does it matter? What is it doing for you? And so if you have hate in your heart, okay? If you're a little intoxicated, okay, on the haterade, if you have felt envious of people who you don't wish harm against them, you just feel like, why not me? I just want you to feel like you can be honest about it. Even if you don't tell me in the comments, even if you just say it out loud to your phone right now and be like, nah, I be hating. Cause why do you have it and I don't? I feel envious. Acknowledge it. And then from there, we have to discover, okay, well, first of all, What do I need to be able to stop being tempted to compare myself to other people? Now, I told y'all, I legit blocked them, okay? I stopped following them. If people even shared their content with me, I would be like, hey, I don't really want to see this, or I don't really want to watch this, right? Like, if you could, like, chill on that. I don't want to see it because I feel envious about it. Maybe there are some people you just can't follow right now. There's some stuff you can't watch right now because you're consumed with what other people are doing, and you're not really worried about yourself, right? What is it? Be real about it. Do you need that? Do you need that? Because again, not only this is taking away time from you discovering who you are and what makes you unique, but it is damaging your self-esteem, and it is impacting your creativity. The more time you spend looking at other people, the less creative you are, the less unique you are, and the further away you are pushing yourself from your goals. If there is anything else that will convince you, maybe I need to back off this stuff, this is impacting your money, okay? Your money. If we have noticed anything from social media, like if we have learned nothing, it is that there is room for everybody to eat. We are also seeing that being authentic, being genuine is what people want. You cannot be genuine or authentic if you don't know who you are. And you cannot know who you are if you're too busy watching what everybody else is doing. And this is me I mean this with all love, y'all. I truly do, because you really do have it. You are the secret sauce. There is nothing special about any of us. We're all unique in our own way. There is no reason why, if this person can get it, that you can't. It's just not going to look the same. It's just not going to look the same. That's all it is. So you have to be brave enough to say, well, what does it look like for me? What does my journey look like? What's my come up look like? Do I even really want this stuff? Is this going to push me closer to my goals, to my visions, to my dreams? So sometimes you have to do stuff that feels extreme. Y'all want to know one of the most extreme things I ever had to do? I knew when I did it, I was going to have to talk about it eventually at some point. But one of the most extreme things I ever had to do was I had to apologize to this woman from high school because I was so jealous of her. Like, not jealous, I was so envious of her. It was just terrible. And I had to apologize because we were in the same circles. So like, we would talk to each other. We would be around one another. I would literally be in her face, and I was envious of her. Anytime she shared something good that was happening to her, secretly on the inside, I was hating. And I was in the car one day. This is years later. I was in the car one day, and she, like, God just like brought her back to my memory. And he was like, you need to apologize to her. And I was like, what? What story time? I'm gonna get to that in a second. I was like, what? I gotta apologize to her. We don't even talk. Like, I'm sure she's not thinking about me. She's not worried about me. Why would I have to do that, right? But it was important for me to confront the situation because it was for me. It was for my own self-esteem. Because I would still see her, I would see what she was doing, and I would see people like her, and I would immediately compare myself. Oh, maybe I dress better than her, or I am in longer relationships. Like, you know how we start to, when we start to feel insecure, we start to like try to pick out stuff about people that makes us better than them. I would do that. And it was not healthy. It was not healthy for my self-esteem to be based off of how I was compared to another person. So because of that, I had to apologize to her, and I had to be very honest about why I was apologizing to her. And so I sent her a message on Facebook, and I told her basically, I was like, "Hey, when we were in high school, I was really envious of you, and I feel like I was being fake by being your friend when this is secretly how I felt." And so I apologized. And so she responded back to me, which I was not even really like expecting, but she responded back to me, and she was like, I forgive you. And she's like, it's I I get it. I understand, how you could have those feelings, not from a place of because I'm that girl, but just because it's a natural emotion to have. And so after that, I felt so free. Like, I felt like, what kind of person goes and apologizes to somebody years later who didn't even know that you did something to offend them in the first place, And when I reflected on that, I was like, man, envy it can get really deep. And it's not the fact that you feel it, but it's the way that you decide to move as a result of those emotions. And so I was like, man, I don't like the fact that I have to do this. Like, I was so irritated by it at the time, but I understood that the topic of self-esteem and self-worth, I knew that that was going to always be a part of my story. And I knew that it was going to always be a part of my platform. And I knew that it was going to be something that people needed to hear, because it's one of those things where people act like it doesn't happen. And it irks me. It bothers me. I just wish that people could just be honest about it. And then, like, you can get better. Like, you don't always have to be this way. You don't always have to be intimidated by people. You don't always have to see someone being in the industry that you want to be in and feel like you're inferior because of the opportunities that they have versus the ones that you've had. And I think that people don't really recognize the impact that it has on what you do and how you progress and how your visions may or may not come to life. Like, it really does have real life implications. Like, you can't just feel this, or you can't just be moving this way and it not impact your career, it not impact your business. It absolutely does. Low self-esteem, insecurity, all of that stuff shows up in some of the wildest ways. And one of the ways that I really want people to realize is that it absolutely affects your pockets. It does. It does. You can say that it's karma. You can say that it's it's just a result of being a hater. Like, what you put out there comes back to you. But even if you're not putting it out there, but you're feeling it, it still affects you. It still does. You can't just ignore it and act like it's not happening, because it's going to impact how you move. Look at the story that I shared with y'all. Me being a hater, okay, me being envious could have literally taken me down a path that was not meant for me. I would have been doing something completely different. I don't even know what I would have been on live talking about with y'all right now. To this day, I don't know what I would have been talking about. I don't know where I would have been going. Like, I don't know what I would have been doing, because I'm over here looking at everybody else and what they got. So yeah, it is. It is absolutely so much deeper than this. And I feel like the timing of it was one of those things. It's one of those moments where it really exposed a lot in people. And I feel like it happened at a time where so many people are already feeling like that strain. Like, we're already feeling like that. We're already feeling like that stress, like that pull. What is the word? Not necessarily a pull, but it's like, it just feels like everything is a struggle right now for a lot of people. Like, it just feels like, man, I'm trying, I'm working hard, I'm doing this, but the views ain't adding up, the money ain't adding up. I'm not getting the opportunities that, I feel like I should have. I've been doing this for so long and I'm just feeling tired and I'm feeling discouraged. Not to mention, life is happening to everybody. So it might just be things going on in your life that it just feels like it's not fair. It feels like it's not fair. I get it. It's definitely like, I feel like the timing was like, it was the perfect time for this to like really piss people off. I understand the visceral reaction that people are having. So, yeah. Yeah. So that's my biggest thoughts on it. Let me see if I can find the other. She's signed to CAA. It's an agency. So she's got someone said in the comments she's got a book deal in the works. She has a film deal, a TV deal, and it's something else that is attached to what she's doing right now. So it's a couple of things that they're planning on rolling out with her. And then of course you see that she's on tour. 30 30,000 taps, or y'all know better than Jesse Wu. Listen, y'all, show me that we're recovering haters, okay? We not haters no more. Help me get to 30,000 likes. Appreciate y'all. Let's see if this one comes up. Okay, here's the other one, y'all. This is another one of the comments. Okay, so this one says, it's always amazing to see people get blessed, but this new viral wave is such a slap in the face for people who have dedicated so much to certain crafts. And that's what I was talking about. That's the part that I was talking about. Where it was like, it's people who have been doing this for a very long time and they feel like they got slighted because this person is a viral sensation and they don't feel like they are getting the attention that they deserve. Yeah. Y'all listen. Okay, let me tell y'all something. Y'all gonna say what y'all want to say anyway, but let me just get this out there. So, people will say all of the logical things, right? Like we'll say if it's meant for you, it'll come. It's just your time. Nobody can control when it goes viral. While these are all facts, y'all, that means nothing in the moment to the people who are experiencing this. I'm just going to be real with y'all, okay? It means nothing, okay? And the reason why I say that, and the reason why I would really love for us to shift the conversation from why it isn't happening for whoever at what time to I have felt this way, because sometimes the feeling is not rational. It's just not. Like, it's not. Like, you can know all of this and still be hating on somebody. And I feel like the only way to confront this is to call it out for what it is. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. I feel like I feel like anything else is just adding fuel to the fire. Anything else is just call it for what it is. Call a spade a spade. Call it out. This is just envy. You're feeling envious. Like let's talk about that. Let's not talk about her. Let's not talk about them. Let's talk about you. Where are these feelings coming from? What's the root of that? Like, ask more questions. That's a whole nother tangent. But anyway, I hear y'all, it's not that I don't necessarily disagree, but I just feel like if we're going to have the conversation, let's just be real about it. And I think that it adds more value to the topic if, instead of trying to rationalize it, I think that it'd be better to empathize, or just be straight up about what it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're at 15K. We are halfway there. We are halfway there. Okay, so the reason why I think that this post like did the numbers that it did, and I know I saw some people saying, this is just typical of Jessie Woo and she's a hater and stuff like that. And I don't really follow Jessie Woo, so I take y'all word for it, I guess. But I feel like it was like one of those things where somebody finally said what people were feeling, and it opened up a space for more people to be honest about it, right? But I feel like it exposed how people really feel, but I don't feel like it created a space to challenge those feelings. Okay, so there's a difference. So I think that it gave like people what's the way I can describe this? Okay, so y'all know, if y'all ever watched Chappelle's show, there was a skit that Dave Chappelle did that where it was called the Haters Ball. Did y'all ever see that? I gotta need Dave Chappelle show watchers. He had it was a skit that they would do called Haters Ball. Ice T was on it. What was his name? The dark skinned one who's always ashy. He did Ashy Larry. Anyway, they would have these entire like gatherings, and they would all be haters. And so they would come together and they would give out awards for who was the biggest hater. And so somebody would come up and they would give their speech, and they would be like, hate, 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 hate. And they would be like that. That's like how they cheered each other on, right? And so that is how the player haters ball. Yes, you get it, Jade. The player haters ball. That's what I feel like this post was about. I feel like this post was the player haters ball. Okay. And the thing that was so funny about the player haters ball is that there was no one there to challenge them. Like no one confronted them on being a hater. Everyone was actively participating and being a hater. Like, it was encouraged to be a hater, right? And so that's what I feel like this post did. Like, I feel like it just encouraged people to be a hater. And while it exposed how people were feeling, it also feels like it was like enabling it, or like coddling it. Like, what are the feelings? This, me too. I have mixed feelings. What are the feelings? Envy. Like, let's say it together. Envy. I feel envious. Okay, well, if I feel envious, do I stay here? Do I just allow this to be the place that I reside? I'm just going to live in Haterville? Or am I going to figure out where this is coming from? Like, don't make this a thing about Reesa Teesa. Don't make this a thing about CAA and how they don't do their artists well and blah, 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 blah. Because a lot of these people who are saying, watch out and you never know, they would have gladly signed with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not concerned for her well-being. You're not concerned for whether or not she's going to do well. You're feeling a way about her. So it would be best for you to understand where that's coming from. Are they? All the big entertainers are with CAA? Yeah, I heard it's a big agency. So like, I mean, like, it's a lot happening very quickly that a lot of people have been working towards. Like, I get it. But just, let's be real about it. Thank you. let's just be real about it. Like if we hating, we hating. Okay. Like, let's understand where that's coming from. And so I think I haven't really looked into the content of the people who made these comments, but I did look at Jessie Woo's for a little bit because she was the one who posted the content first, and I'm familiar with her a little bit from Love and Hip Hop. Thank you for the roses. I'm familiar with her from Love and Hip Hop, but I don't know like much about her content. I don't really follow it that much. I was looking at some of her videos, and I feel like a lot of entertainers have gotten by their name. A lot of them gotten by their name. And also a lot of them have gotten by with their commentary on pop culture, right? I feel like I'm trying to be careful with my words here. But they've gotten by basically by like not being original. Okay. I put it out there. Okay. And it has always been they've always, if not all of them, but especially some of the more popular ones, it doesn't seem like they've had to do a whole lot in order to get views on their content because people already recognize the name. So they don't have to work as hard when they're making their content, right? But you might see some artists, some creators who are extremely original. Like they've come up with things that are their own. They have done things that you haven't seen anybody else do before. And it's something that they've made something that's them. Like they've made something where it's like, nah, that's so and so's thing. Or I already know that like the way that they create content, that's what so and so does, right? And so even one of her most recent videos, it was to Money Long's song, the Nobody Knows Me Like You Do, yeah. Like that song. And so I'm over here looking at it and I'm like, this doesn't really tell me anything about you, And I don't know if she has other content where she's more transparent or more vulnerable. I don't know. I already told y'all I have not done a whole lot of research. This is just from what I've seen over time from different artists. Like they really can ride on the wave of what's trending and what's popular because they already have the name. And so it is very jarring to see people who are being themselves and being rewarded for it. Again, if y'all feel a way about whether or not Reesa Teesa's story is real, I already told y'all I'm not debating you on that, okay? Until it is proven otherwise, it is original. It's original for me, okay? And so it's jarring because you've spent so much of your career, especially when it comes to like the marketing side of things, treating social media more like just strictly marketing and not relationship building. And not really building community and being the type of person that people can actually relate to. And so while this is relatable because a lot of people are cool. Your comments, they keep catching me off guard. We're at 17.8K likes. We're at 17K likes, y'all. Help me get to 30,000. That's my goal. If y'all are enjoying this conversation, please tap the screen. Even if you don't have it to gift, thank you for the rose. Even if you don't have it to gift, please help me tap the screen. It is free. I'm trying to get to 30,000 likes. I have never made it up to that number before. And so I would really love it if y'all could help me. So that is my ask. Let me see if I can bring the other one back up. Yeah, so y'all can see it's got 2,000 likes. 294 replies. Somebody asked, what platform is this on? This is on Threads. So yeah, this is on Threads. I love Threads. I'm always on there. I like it better than Twitter, even though it's some aspects of it are feeling very Twitter-esque. This was one of them. And so I saw it, and that was, I thought it was interesting to talk about it. But yeah. So obviously, it's relatable in the sense that it's a lot of people that are hating on Reesa Teesa. You can call whatever you want to, but you're a hater. You're hating. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Threads confuses me. I never got into those types of platforms. Yeah, it works for me now. It works for me now. But yeah, y'all, thank you. Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, the people, you're being a hater. And I think that it's time for us to just be honest about the fact that that's how we're feeling. Because the quicker we're honest about it, the sooner we can focus on what makes us unique, what makes us different, what makes us stand out, and we can work towards that. What if her thoughts are actually positive? I think that if her thoughts were positive, then I think she would have said that. And that's just me. I don't feel like people have a hard time sharing positive thoughts. Thank you for helping me reach my goal. People don't have a hard time they don't have a hard time sharing positive thoughts. I think that she said, I have so many thoughts because maybe there are some positive ones, but there's also some negative ones. We're talking about creators hating on other creators. We're talking about envy. And so I was saying that this post that Jessie Woo put up is one that I feel like exposes the envy that a lot of people are feeling right now towards Reesa Teesa, and the fact that she is gaining so much in such a short period of time that a lot of people have desired to have. Like, a lot of people have wanted to be able to get these opportunities, and they feel like they have been slighted because they're not at the place where, they're getting these deals with agencies, and they're not able to get these brand deals, these TV deals, because she's got a TV deal coming up, movie, TV, film, and a book. And then she's also on a tour right now doing different interviews. And so there's people who are like, I've been spending so much time on my craft and perfecting it and working on it. Welcome home, Bookie. And
but upgraded to Cinema Man.
Okay. And it's like, why am I not getting to this place? Why is it not happening for me? And so I was sharing my story of when I felt envious of other creators. It was a particular time in my life where I was transitioning. I was doing a lot of style content, and I stopped doing style content to focus more on branding and helping people to monetize their creativity. And as I was in that transition, it was hard for me because I was seeing people doing things that I felt like I could do. And to be honest, I felt like I could do it better than them. And so I can remember feeling envious. And so I had to stop following them. I had to separate myself for a little while because I couldn't just be on there looking at them, watching what they're doing, knowing that I'm hating on them. And it was also taken away from what I was able to do. It was taken away from the way that I needed to create. It was taken away from my creativity. And so I'm encouraging people that as they see this, that this is an opportunity for us to be real about the fact that some of us are hating. Some of us are feeling envious. And what are we going to do about it? Because it's okay that those feelings are there. And it's good to acknowledge that you're feeling that. However, what are your steps moving forward? Because you can't just sit back and allow this to be where your focus is. Because this is not helping her. It's not helping anybody. And the thing that's really weird is that I've seen her make multiple comments on it, So I know it's bothering her. And I know it's bothering a lot of people. They're like, they just don't feel like she deserves it. How dare she? How could she? And I think the part that's really interesting to me about this is that they said that some people, the last live that I had, some people were saying um they were saying that why should she get rewarded for just telling her business, right? Like, why should she get rewarded for being silly or for being stupid and dealing with that man? And I was telling them that she's not being rewarded for the choices that she made. She's being rewarded for the fact that she shared it and that millions of people wanted to watch it. It was entertaining to them. And so that's something that people get compensated for. Being an entertainer is literally a job. Why would she not get compensated for that? And the fact that people were so upset about her sharing her story when that's literally what people do on the internet all day. That's what makes you like people. That's what makes you connect with people. That's how you understand why a person does what they do. That's how you find a way to relate to them. You love your favorite creators because they've shared something about themselves. They tell stories. But hers bothers you. This one irritates you. You're being a hater. You're being a hater. Like, it's fine. Like, I just want people to be real about it. Like, that's it. People feel how they feel. She got to do her thing. Yeah. And I love the fact that she is, regardless of it. Even though I know that she sees the comments. She's made some statements about that before, but that's definitely the cost of being vulnerable, being transparent and sharing. But I wish that more people would use that energy on figuring out what moves they need to make, because we'll be in much better positions. There can be more people who are on the same track. I'm not saying you're gonna blow up and get millions of people overnight, but what I am saying is that it's space for everybody. But you're not gonna get there focusing on what everybody else is doing. Y'all caping for Jessie. I don't have anything against Jessie, y'all. She just happened to be the one who got a lot of people talking about it. I honestly, I'm grateful that she made this post because I feel like it exposed what a lot of people were not saying. And that's why I got the response that it did. But yeah, it's real. It's hating. It's all hating. It's a human emotion. Even your favorite people, they're susceptible to it. Everyone's too busy following trends. She wanted to beat her own drum. Yeah. Jessie Woo doesn't tap the screen. Don't be a Jessie Woo. Be better friends. Yeah. I appreciate you, Kuma. I don't know if Bullock is still in here to make you a mod. But yeah, I want y'all to be real. And I know some people have said that they have felt it, that they felt the envy and they have felt those feelings of, I'm getting passed up and people are doing what I want to do and they're getting to the places that I want to get to. And I really want y'all to be encouraged that you can be honest about it. You can be real about it. And then you can also take steps to focus on you. You can take steps to overcome it. Like, you don't have to just stay in that place. And I'm talking to y'all from a place of being a recovering hater. And I've never necessarily enjoyed having to be the person who is honest about it, but somebody has to be. Somebody has to be, because I don't, even if I have those feelings, I don't allow that to determine how I feel about myself. I don't allow that to be the thing that stops me from making moves. I don't allow it to just fester. I don't sit up here on the internet and talk about people. I feel like it's literally like I am a walking example of someone who has felt these feelings, have been in this place, who's felt passed up, and has still kept going. And did it without having to feel like I had to put somebody else down in order to make it happen. Recovering hater. Should I make recovering hater shirts? It isn't even hating. I think it becomes hating when it's directed at somebody else. I definitely feel like it is. Yeah. Who said? I mean, at the end of the day, if you think about it, you're making yourself the enemy, because the only person that's saying you can't do it is you. Like, that's really what you're telling yourself. Like, this person can do it, but I can't. This person can attain these things, but I'm not capable of it. Like, and that's why I was telling y'all, it only harms us because we internalize it, and we make it about why we can't do things. We make it about why we're not capable of accomplishing things. We make it about these things about us that just make it so that it's not ever going to be possible for me. We internalize it, and that stuff impacts our self-esteem. A lot of creators like her put in so much hard and get so little. Okay, and here's my question to y'all, because I have another question. Y'all see y'all tapping also. Thank y'all for tapping. We are at 22,000 likes. We are 8,000, almost 7,000 taps away from my goal. So please continue tapping the screen. I appreciate y'all so much. I think that I think I lost my train of thought, y'all. Let me look and see what I was trying to say, where I was going with it. She was vulnerable, transparent, was perfection for her. I don't remember where I was going with that thought. Hopefully it'll come back. Everyone's time is different, so why compare? Yeah, well, that was it. I remember now. I had a question for y'all. So my question is, okay, what is the little that people are referring to? That is what I need to be defined, okay? Because that is the part where I feel like it starts to become very vague. And that is the part where I feel like it exposes a lack of vision. Okay? All right. I'm gonna explain what I mean. By that. The little in their mind projecting their lack of dreams. Yeah, it projects. It shows me that you lack vision. Okay. So here's why I say that. Vision, having a goal in mind for what you're trying to build with what you're doing, it is the thing that helps to keep you going. It's the thing that gives you faith. It's the thing that gives you the energy. It's the thing that reminds you, oh, today might be a crappy day. Today might be a day where I'm just like, it's all L's today. But I know that I'm working towards a greater purpose. People who don't have vision are very hopeless. They're very pessimistic. And they also are in this place of being a victim, like, woe is me. Nothing ever works in my favor. Why can't this ever go right? Why does it feel like everything I do flops? Everything that I do fails. It shows that you have a lack of gratitude. Okay? And the thing about having a vision is that it's one of those things that people don't even realize that they don't really have it. Like, you might have a vague idea of what you're trying to build, right? What you're trying to work towards. But unless it's clear, you're going to always feel like you're just throwing stuff at the wall and trying to see what sticks. You're going to always feel like you're not doing enough. You're not getting enough. I don't have enough. Nothing is working. But it's like, what is nothing? Like, what are the numbers? What are the metrics assigned to it? Okay, if I am trying to, let's use me as an example. One of my goals as a part of my vision is to create an agency, a creative branding agency, right? So everything that I do, especially when it comes to my content, is with that in mind. That's how I'm moving. That's my vision. So if I post a video today and that video flops, that does not mean that the world is ending. If I apply for a grant, or if I try to connect with a creator and it doesn't work out, that doesn't mean that everything fails for me. Nothing good ever happens, or I'm getting so little. It just means that I know where I'm going and I have to readjust. I have measurements. I have metrics. I have goalposts to let me know, okay, this is my next milestone. This is my next milestone. Like, having different steps towards a goal. But when I hear people say that I'm doing so much and I'm getting so little, what is it that you want? And is that really true? Are you getting so little, or are you just not appreciating what you have? And it's really hard to appreciate what you have when you're looking at everybody else. Like, tell me you're comparing yourself without telling me. Tell me you looking at everybody else without telling me. That is a very clear sign that you don't know where you're going. You're feeling lost. Or maybe you do have a vision, but you don't have any strategy in place for what it looks like for you to build that vision. You don't know what it looks like practically. You don't know that maybe this video flopped, but in the grand scheme of the last 90 days, you're trending upwards in engagement. Or in the last 90 days, you've gone live more often than you ever have. Or in the last 90 days, you're getting more people who are clicking your links or purchasing your products. Even if it's not a high number, you're getting more than what you had before, because you actually have measurements and metrics to gauge the direction that you're going in. So when I hear people say, "Hey, Palm," when I hear people say, I'm getting so little and I'm not getting any recognition, it almost feels like, that feels like the real slap in the face to me. Because when I look at people, especially people who have made it to this level, saying things like this, and I'm not saying she said that she gets too little, y'all. I'm not putting words in her mouth. She didn't say that. But let me just use this as an example, okay? When I see people who have reached certain levels saying that feels like a slap in the face to me. I could only imagine how that feels to the people who support you, to the people who ride for you, to the people who subscribe to your content, to the people who purchase your products, to the people who comment on your videos, to the people who share your things and repost them. Like, it really does show a lack of gratitude, and it shows a lack of vision, because you're not really putting into perspective what you're working towards, and you're now comparing how quickly someone else made it to a particular place, when your focus should be on your vision and your goal. Why does it matter how quickly you got there? There's no limit. You could still be in CAA. You could still get there. It's possible. Not gonna lie, I was hating a little bit when I saw her achievements, but I had to check myself. Thank you, Shantae. Thank you. Thank you for being real about that. Like, thank you for being honest. Because it's natural. It's natural to feel that. But then you have to think, okay, well, what does it look like for me to move past this? What is this telling me about myself? If you have a lack of vision, the great thing about that is you can build one. That's a solution. You don't have to always not have a vision. You don't have to always not know what you're doing. You don't have to always feel like you're just fumbling around trying to figure it out. Like, you can build a vision, you can build a strategy, but that requires for you to take that energy that you're expending on other people and invest it into yourself. And I also got to tell y'all this. We got to 25K. I am so proud of y'all. Thank you so much. We are less than 5,000 away from my goal. Everybody that's tapping, y'all are dope. Please continue to tap the screen. It's 200 of us in here, so that means that we can get to 30K in no time. I really do appreciate y'all. The like goals help me to remain visible on the For You page. It's the reason why this live has been popping the way that it is. And so everybody that's tapping, you are contributing to this conversation positively. So thank you so much. Definitely self-reflection is necessary for growth. It is, and it's necessary for us to be able to figure out what we need to do to make our dreams possible. So you know how people always tell you, how people always say, everything you got is already inside of you. You have everything that you need. And they say that, and it may seem like a very cliche thing to say. And to be honest with y'all, I have felt it like it's very cliche. Like, I have felt like it's very cliche too. However, the truth in that is that you are what makes you unique. Not what somebody's tips and growth strategies are telling you, not what made somebody else go viral, not what somebody else is telling you you should do, like not the people that you're comparing yourself to. They're not what makes you unique. You are what makes you unique. Everything about you, your story, the experiences that you have, your culture, your unique perspective to how to do things, that is what makes you different. And the more time that you spend learning what that looks like, the more time you spend investing in understanding yourself and understanding what people value most from you. How do you contribute to the world that is most impactful? What are those things? And focus on continuing to put those things out, perfecting it, and you will be in those places that you desire to be in. You'll be in those places that you dreamed about. You'll be in the places that you've had visions of because you took the time to say, I'm not going to focus on what this person's doing. I'm not going to spend my time hating on them. I'm going to understand that, hey, this is a feeling. I'm feeling this way for a reason. Now, what is this telling me that I need? When I was hating, when I was envious, it was telling me that I need to spend some time understanding what makes me special. I need to understand how I can talk about fashion in a way that makes me stand out because it's my perspective to it. It's my twist to it. Even when you talk about style, everybody can have the same t-shirt, we can have the same outfit, but we're gonna all present it in a different way because we all have our own twists and approach to things. That is what makes you stand out. That's what makes you unique. And so we all have that. Westies. Oh, snap. I love that. Can somebody pin that? It's my besties, the Westies. I always wanted to have a nickname for people. If y'all want to be Westies, you ain't got to be Westies, but I feel like you should. My besties, the Westies. But yeah, y'all, like you have to figure out what makes you different. And if you are hating, then this is an opportunity for you to say, okay, well, where is this coming from? And what is it that I feel like I'm lacking? All right. I saw that, Bullock. Thank you for reminding me. Y'all, this is all, everything that I've talked about on this live so far, the things that make you unique, the things that make you stand out, being unapologetically you, all of that stuff is branding. Okay. I know people have talked about, building a personal brand, and they've talked about it in a way where it's just like this high, lofty thing. But branding is really just figuring out what makes you unique and continuously presenting that to the world. And that is what I do for a living. Are we on YouTube too? No, we're not on YouTube. We're not on YouTube. I'll repost this, but we're not on there right now. Because if I tried to do both, we wouldn't be here today. I know. I'm gonna post it on there though. I'm gonna post it on there. But yeah, this is what I do for a living, y'all. So if you are interested in figuring out what makes you unique, how you can stand out, I'm not guaranteeing that you're gonna be viral like Reesa Teesa, but I can guarantee that you're going to be so you that you're going to attract the people that you dreamed about attracting all of your life. Okay. The workbook is called Getting Unshy, and it is to help you build your personal brand, to be authentic and to be bold, and to spend time figuring out what makes you unique and how you can take your creativity and impact the world. So if you are interested in the workbook and building your personal brand, you can get it in my bio. And that's that for now. There's going to be other opportunities to work with me, but this is going to that's what we got for right now. I'll share the other ones later. But yeah, we talk about this all the time in my lives. So if you appreciate my approach to this, if you appreciate my approach on this topic, then this is how it always is over here. We keep it real, we're raw, we're honest, and we encourage one another. Yeah. Okay. I'm looking to see if it's a comment that your opinion, what made her story any more unique than other women that's been lied to. Hold on. You're asking what's my opinion on what made her unique? Um okay, is that what you're asking? What made hers unique? Okay. I think that, let me see. So this is going to be, you would have to ask somebody who watched all 50 parts, okay, y'all? I did not. I did not. So you might get a different answer from somebody who watched all of them through. But I believe that what made it unique is the fact that she was very thorough in her storytelling. She was very raw in her storytelling. And I think the fact that she like had it with receipts is a unique approach to the situation. And also the fact that she used different names for the people. So like giving them character names. I don't know why that is appealing, but it was a choice, right? Because some people could tell that story and they could give you the names straight up. Like they don't care. They're gonna tell you exactly what happened, who did it. They're gonna give you their first last name. They're gonna give you your social security number. Like they're going to tell you everything. It's gonna be like a tell it all, right? I think that her approach to it, while I think it is still honest and it was still genuine and it was thorough, and from what I understand, it was not like her trying to absolve herself from the role that she played in it. Like it seems like she was very, to the best of her ability, gave it like a very balanced approach. So those are all things that made it unique. Now that doesn't mean that there isn't somebody else out there who would tell a story the same way, but those are all choices that she made. And so someone telling that story, who's not Reesa Teesa, they could be telling that exact same story, but maybe they are not as descriptive. Maybe they use people's first and last names. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the way that it's like your personal convictions, the way that you choose to disclose information, the things that you talk about, even including details about your life, like your faith or sexuality or where you came from, where you grew up. All of that context that makes you who you are the things that makes you unique. So it really is like it is that's kind of what I would say to it, if that makes sense. So anybody could tell that story and it would be a completely different story just because of what they would bring to it and how they would choose to tell the story. Hopefully that answered your question. I also heard that she's a good storyteller. It didn't work the format didn't work for me only because it's not because I can't watch things that are long, y'all. I love long form content, but I think for me, it kind of almost reminded me of anime. And a lot of anime will do that thing where it like splits in the middle of like important scenes. Like when they split in the middle of a fight scene, it irks me so much. Like I don't like that. I want to just watch this fight all the way through. Why did you end the episode mid punch? You know? So it was a way of telling the story that it works for some people to like watch it in separate parts, but if I do better in like a continuous format. So if she had did that same thing on a podcast or if it was like a YouTube video, it probably would have been easier for me to listen to it, because that extra step for me is it wasn't worth it for me to listen to it, especially because I knew I was going to get the information from other people. So because the one interview that I did watch that was super long was Keith Lee's interview with Kev on Stage. That interview was like 2.5 hours long, and I enjoyed every minute of it. It was so good. It was so good. It was my first time like really learning about Keith Lee and like about his life, because I didn't follow him at the time. And so when I was listening to it, I could listen to it in my car. I was on my way to DC at the time. And so I had time. So I could just sit and listen to it continuously. So it was easy for me to just consume it in a way where I didn't have to like scroll and move over, and it just, and I don't necessarily like to look at my phone for long periods of time. Like I just wanted to be able to play and then I can do other things. So yeah, I wasn't willing to like make the extra concessions to watch it, but I knew that I was going to get more than enough information from all of the conversation about it. And then since then I've watched some of the interviews that she's done, and just ask people questions about how they felt about it. So that's how I got the feedback from it. Tashi, we were talking about people being envious of other creators, and I was using this as an example because I felt like this comment that Jessie Woo made. Oh, we got to 30K. We did it, y'all. Hold on. Let me get a sound effect, because we did it. I pressed the wrong button. Don't laugh at me. There we go. Nope, still wrong thing. We're gonna figure it out. Sound effects. We did it, y'all. Thank you. We made it to 30K. Felicia from H&M. Is that you? I love everything that's happening for Reesa Teesa. Good job, Westies. Y'all never answered my question. Do y'all want to be Westies or no? Do y'all want to be Westies? Because if yes, if so, I'm gonna start using that. Y'all can be my besties, the Westies. The playlist feature allows binging. Yeah, no, I definitely think I will at some point, but I have to watch things on my own time. Okay, all right, I'm putting it up. Okay, I did the poll, y'all. All right, so do y'all want to be Westies? Yes or no? Okay, if you want to be a Westie, put a smiley face. If y'all not feeling it, put the crying emoji. You won't hurt my feelings if you don't want to be a Westie, but I really want y'all to be Westies. Okay. Felicia! Ah, it's so good to see you. I popped up on your For You page. That's so dope. Okay. I'm seeing more smiles. I love that you popped up on my For You page. It's my first time here. Really? Welcome, Tanisha. It is so good to see y'all. I am so excited that this conversation went well. They have been going well for a while. I usually try to stay away from like the trending topics, but we can't avoid them. Some people get tired of hearing the same things, but you can just find new ways to talk about it. Okay, so we got more smiles than cries. So I'm gonna start calling y'all. We're officially the Westies now. Okay, y'all are all my besties, the Westies. It's a thing. I don't know what else we're doing with it after that. We also decided that I had to have a T-shirt called "Recovering Hater." The recovering haters. Do we need to have monthly meetings? I watched a few episodes. Her voice cadence lost my interest, and the storyline was common. Yeah, I couldn't explain it, y'all. We're the Westies. This. Oh man, it's like y'all find new ways to make my day. We are officially the Westies. I love it here. You gotta throw up the W's for the Westies. Is there a emoji that lets you do this? That lets you do this? W's for the Westies. You needed more personality in the storyline. Yeah, that's how. Yeah, I don't. If it's different strokes for different folks. I don't want to be. I don't want y'all to look down on me because I can't necessarily get with everything that's popular. I can't. Oh snap! There is an emoji. That'll work. That'll work. Throw up the W's for the Westie. Now I gotta make an emote. Oh man, that makes me so happy. But shout out to her for getting there. Correct. Correct. I'm absolutely a Westie, especially since I think we are in the same area. Come on. I love that. Thank you for that, Kuma. I love that. I've always wanted to have a name for people. That we got a name and we got a hand sign. It's lit. It's lit. Gang gang. Personally, I think Reesa would do good in entertainment, whatever that may look like for her. I agree. I definitely think that she would do well in entertainment. I feel like personally she should go more the like reality TV route. I think that would be incredible. Like and it doesn't require like for you to necessarily have acting skills or nothing like that. I mean, some people be on reality TV acting, but I think that if she had something that was like reality TV, it would be good. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes people come in here and they be making assumptions about the kind of content that I make. You'll find out soon enough. I don't be in here putting folks down. So if that's what you came to see, you might want to walk on out. Cause I don't do that. I don't do that. I see her as more the writer. Yeah, she does have there is a book deal involved in it too. There is a book deal involved in it. I think that the reason why I say reality TV though is that for one, I think that people want to see her. I feel like people want to see her. They want to see what she's doing. And I think if the reality TV show was more from the perspective of like what is she doing now? What's happening in her life now? I think that it would do better than say like a drama because if she went that route I don't think that she would be the one that would be acting in it. So, but you could absolutely do both. You could do one, the movie or the film. I think should be more on along the lines of Who Did I Marry, and then the reality TV show is more like what is she doing now. The few interviews I've seen were still kind of blah. Yeah, I think that. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that with the agencies, they have some coaching involved. Hopefully, they do. Do they coach people? Do they coach talent? No more drama needs to be the title. Correct. Correct. With the thigh highs. No more pain. Thank you for sharing the live, Kiara. That's all I have on it, though, y'all. For real, that's all I have on the topic. I feel like I have exhausted it. I really do appreciate y'all for hanging out with me and behaving for the most part. Some of the comments I didn't see, but if I read y'all comments, then I'll lose my train of thought, and that's just I've come to accept that. Jessie Woo is and she's an entertainer. I think she's a rapper. Is she a rapper, y'all? I know her from Love and Hip Hop. Yeah, I think she was like, I know she was on Love and Hip Hop. But you know how sometimes with Love and Hip Hop, you don't really know all the way what people do. Actress. Oh, okay. Actress, singer, commentator. Okay. Social commentator. Got it. How is her music? Do y'all like her music? I haven't listened to it yet. I know that she's Haitian. I also know that because of Love and Hip Hop. With the oh, thank you. I had to put this on because my lips have been dry. It's decent. Oh no, my nails are plain, but I think the because of the ring light, it makes it look pink, so they look done. She has a nice singing voice. I'm gonna drop a Utada tomorrow. I'm gonna do a bunch of orange outfits. I've decided. It's definitely giving hater. It's giving hater. TV singer, social media famous comedian. I did think that she was funny. I saw I'm trying to think. I think it was like from what I saw on Love and Hip Hop, she always had like something funny to say. Or she always like gave like the like it just I could tell she was funny. Um but I was saying earlier, I think that's like almost that's also problematic to me. Like when I feel like you don't stand out, that to me lets me know that you um aren't doing enough to like really show your personality, or you're not doing a lot that's original. Like, what are you known for? I followed her before Love and Hip Hop. What is she strongest in? Let me ask that question. This is just out of curiosity. Out of curiosity, where do you feel like what area do you feel like she's strongest in? She made this comment on Threads. This is on Threads. Yeah, I don't deal with X, Twitter, none of that. The topic, we are actually wrapping it up, but I was talking about creators being envious of other creators, and I was using this as an example because how popular this comment was. There were a lot of people that were on it that were, I was trying to put my elbow on something. There were a lot of people that were commenting on it that were saying that were basically saying hater like things. Like, the underlying thing was that they were envious of Reesa Teesa's success. And so I was sharing my story and my experience with being envious of creators that were in my industry. And I was encouraging people to be honest about that feeling, because it is a feeling. It's natural to have that feeling. And then to understand where it's coming from and what they need so that they can bring the focus back to themselves and show up as themselves, because envy is one of those things that really is dangerous, like, and it does more harm to the person that's feeling it, that's experiencing it, than to the person that's directed towards. So you've seen her but know nothing about her. Oh, okay. Yeah, it definitely is. I'm going to post the replay of this on YouTube, y'all. So if you missed any part of it, then that's where it's going to be. I don't do too well with like being on live and repeating myself. I think once you're on live for a long time, you either have to change the topic or you got to keep repeating yourself. And I don't really do good with either one of those. But I will definitely download this and I will post the replay so you can check out what I said. because I covered a lot. I covered a lot in it. And my hope in sharing it is that it is relatable to people and it encourages people to be honest about where they are and how they're feeling so that they can heal from it, so that their self-esteem doesn't suffer, so that their brand doesn't suffer, so that they can be creative and they can have the things that they want in life and not just feel envious of other people who have the things that they desire. Like, it's possible for you too, but it's not going to help you to get there if you're focused on what other people are getting. So yeah, I'll post it if y'all are following me or subscribe to me on YouTube, then you can catch it there, the replay. I haven't seen her acting, so can't speak on that, but I heard she's good in that also. Okay, she's good at acting. I asked y'all this question and I didn't see some of y'all answers. I'm sorry. When she started coming up, so many women were trying to tear her down. Really? That's interesting. That's like where she was coming from, and now this. I think that's the part that's weird to me too, y'all, is that when people get to a certain place, it's almost like this sense of entitlement that I got here, and I deserve to be here. But if someone follows the same path that I do and they get results faster than me, now all of a sudden, like, I'm better than them, or like, I forgot where I'm coming from. And what that's the part that really gets me, because if you're somebody who's popular from social media, there should already be this sense of camaraderie, because people don't take social media, they don't take influencers seriously still, even though people that are online are still talented. They're just online, and that's where they were able to get the visibility. So it doesn't, just because you grew a following on here, people tend to like downplay it and envy it at the same time, and that's weird to me. And it's also weird when you're in that space and you know what it's like to not have like that same empathy for other people that are coming up, just because things moved along faster for them. So it's just weird. It's weird. Over the years, I think everything is fake. Comedian, singer. Okay, y'all think that she's strong as a comedian, as a singer? Let's see. I think she is strong in singing, but she's also very well spoken. Yeah, I thought that she was just more of like a personality, which, I think can go well. It doesn't usually, when you have like multiple talents and you try to pursue them all at the same time, it's hard. It's hard. It usually works out best for the people who like really focus on one thing at a time and then start to slowly transition into the other things. She never gave hater vibes. Yeah, I don't know much about her, but this did. You know, this did. And the even in the thread, there was a lot of comments that I was like, that sounds like envy. So she do well hosting, and folks wondering why they haven't been able to do what she did. Yeah, it's just when you're focused on other people, it makes it hard. Okay. I can understand the envy simply because TikTok was created to make money as a content creator. Yeah, it's definitely the focus right now. So people are making more money than you, or you're doing the same things and it seems like they're excelling in it. I definitely understand. Well, yeah, I was just curious, y'all. I definitely think that in some cases it's better to be known for something and rather than everything, because you don't stand out that way, and it does make it harder for you. I'm just gonna keep it real. She too has had multiple opportunities. She's social media famous on reality shows, on TV. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, it's not like you're lacking in opportunities, which is why, again, I was saying, for me, it lets me know that there's a lack of focus there. It's a lack of focus, and there's a lack of vision, and it happens sometimes. You get to a place where there's you almost like a crisis. Like, what do I do? And if people who have a lot of talents experience this a lot. Like, we want to pursue so many different things and we feel like we're talented in so many ways, and to try to just focus on one thing, it almost feels like we're like stifling or giving up on everything else. And sometimes it's not about giving them up, but it's about making one like your focus. It's make like one your main thing, and then pursuing the other things as time permits, or finding ways to incorporate it in what you do mainly. Like, I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna get off. One person who I feel has done this very well is Cheryl Lee Ralph. Cheryl Lee Ralph does this really well. So we know her most from acting, right? She also had her Dreamgirls and her career in Broadway. She did Dreamgirls, but Dreamgirls Broadway is like, a mix of acting and singing. So you're kind of getting to getting to flex both muscles. But more recently, she's honed in on acting. But Cheryl Lee Ralph is multi-talented. And so what she's been able to do is that she's been able to incorporate her singing abilities into her acting. So she didn't go out and say, I'm going to be an actress and I'm also going to pursue a singing career and I'm also going to do this and do that. Like, she found a way to incorporate both into what she does. And so not every day she's singing, and she's not on a musical TV show, even though she could be if she wanted to, right? But she's found a way to like really specialize as an actress while also pursuing other opportunities and allowing for the things that she loved, which is singing, to be included in the acting, as opposed to trying to make them two separate things. So I think that's like a strategy that a lot of people could use. A lot of entertainers could use that. It doesn't mean that you're not good at these other things, but maybe one particular skill or one particular talent is going to be the gateway for you to begin to pursue the other things that you love. But you have to give something your time and attention and really develop it, and trust that you'll be able to include the other things on the process, because that's what makes you stand out. And so I feel like a lot of entertainers, like, they're hustlers. You try to do all the things and be all the things, and you just end up in a place where you can feel stretched and burnt out, or just feel like you're not being appreciated, or feel like you don't know what you're doing or where you're going, because your attention is so like spread out. So yeah, I was curious because if that is the place that she's at, and this is just speculation, I do not know Jessie. She has not said that she's in a crisis. However, I'm just speculating that could be a place that she's in. And if she is, as a creative, I definitely understand that. Working, I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what you mean by that. But yeah, that's my little soapbox. I think Jessie's definitely feeling some type of way. Yeah, I feel like that's obvious. I think that to try to come back after this and say I don't feel a way is like, no, you do. You do. Just be honest about it. Let's talk about it. And then, let's figure out what you need so that you can feel better. That's everything for real, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are officially the Westies. Gang, gang. I really am happy that y'all are here. I have fun having this conversation with y'all. And if you don't already follow me and you love these types of conversations, this is the types of stuff that we talk about all the time on my lives, okay? This is a place where it's not messy. We don't point the fingers at people. We really talk about real stuff that we're feeling as creatives and what it'll take for us to heal so that we can show up as our most authentic selves. So I like to take topics like this one. Sometimes I share my own personal stories. Today I did a mix of both, but they're all in an effort to be relatable, to be open, to have these conversations, because these are the things that we're missing in the creator space. These are the things that we're not talking about. And so by having these conversations, by being real and being transparent with y'all, I'm hoping that we can heal so that we can be the people that we were meant to be, and so that we can see our dreams come to pass. Like, we can really see the things that we've desired for so long happen in our lives. So that's what we do here. If y'all enjoy this, then make sure you're following me. I see the follows. Welcome to the gang. I appreciate y'all. I will be back. If I'm not back tomorrow, then I will be back on Friday. It'll probably be around the same time, and we can talk about the next topic. All right, y'all. So until next time, I will see y'all later.